Hi, Kelly. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. I truly appreciate it. And oftentimes, Kelly, I love to thank my guest for two things. Okay. So, firstly, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Kelly, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves weren't green. I just walked past it, Kelly. But you see, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the tree. Hmm, it caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to the tree. And when I got so close to it, it wowed me because now it's got a lot of beautiful mangoes and beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes, but ripe mangoes. It was very beautiful. That day I kept staring and staring at the beautiful tree. It was wonderful. My point is the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to your insight, your work, and the beautiful things that you do. It's amazing. So thank you for that. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite because if Kelly had said nope, there was nothing I could do about it. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Wonderful. So let's get started. I am quite excited to have you on the show today, Kelly, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Kelly, I believe it takes the application of knowledge. And not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see, Kelly, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Kelly on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, Kelly, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality information. And I'm totally convinced, Kelly, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We are just so curious right now. We want to know how Kelly got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some really beautiful questions for you. Okay, Kelly, over to you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here. I'm really passionate about sharing my own story and talking to other people. I present a radio show where I do a similar thing for other people and invite them on to share their voice and their story and their journey of where they've been, which has led them to passionate work they're really connected to in their lives. And I think a similar thing has happened for me in the sense that I had my own struggles. I had difficult challenges in my lifetime, and then that led me to feeling anxious quite a lot of the time and fearful and self-doubt and lack of self-belief and so many things. And through writing and meditation and running my own groups and working with people, I've really reconnected with myself and that place inside where I can find balance and connect to all the things that I'm really passionate about doing and sharing. I published a book last year, which I'm really proud of. And yeah, that's kind of where I am today in this moment. So thank you for inviting me on, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Beautiful. You know, the part that caught my attention pretty good was when you mentioned that you reconnected with yourself, and that's beautiful. And folks who have found themselves, they're very interesting to listen to you because they've got some very effective solution. So thank God for what you're doing. It's beautiful and I love it. So let's pick the first question from, you know, getting a bit personal. All right. So what has been the biggest challenge or challenges that you faced in life and how did you overcome it?
I would say one of the biggest challenges I find is letting go of what other people think in order to be able to be who I am. Because a lot of the time I place a lot of judgment on myself. I didn't even like listening to my own voice once upon a time, playing it back. I would always doubt the things I wrote down or question if they were good enough. And I think one of the biggest things is to really just come back to that place inside, really just trusting that gut instinct, intuition, whatever you want to call it, just to know that you need to follow your heart. Because if we constantly worry about what other people think or what other people are doing, it just takes us away from ourselves. So the biggest challenge is for me to, with kindness and love and respect, but let go of what other people may think I should do or think I should say, and just come back to what I feel is right and move forward with that.
Beautiful. That's a great one. And I love that. Okay, so anxiety and fear often feel like obstacles, but you say they are signposts. Can you explain that and what do you mean by that?
So most people will be able to identify with having feelings of anxiety and being in a place of fear. It's a normal thing for us to feel fear in certain situations, and in some places it's really important. If you're being chased by a tiger, you want to feel fear so you can run. That's all quite normal. But if we're living in fear all the time, it can hold us back. And it's what I started to realize the more I sat either in meditation or just becoming aware of what I was feeling rather than becoming it and acknowledging that anxiety is a feeling, it's not who I am. I started to realize that when anxiety became present for me a lot, that it was a signpost that something bigger was going on in my life that I wasn't making space to feel. And the moment I started writing it down or exploring what I was feeling, the anxiety would lift because I was able to access the real problem. So now if ever anxiety rises for me, which it does, and of course people in life will have anxious moments, but now if I feel anxious, I think, oh, what's my body trying to tell me? Why do I feel under threat? What's going on? What do I need? Do I need more sleep? Do I need to listen? Do I need to exercise? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to, rebalance? So it's like a signpost to say, hang on, Kelly, listen, what's going on here for you, rather than being consumed by the anxiety.
Beautiful. That's a great perspective. And I've never thought about it like that.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so let us talk about your book. All right. So, what inspired you to write a book, and what is it about?
So I've always written, right from very young. When I didn't feel I had anyone to talk to, or if I went through a difficult time, I'd write things down to try and make sense of them. And I think the same unraveling happened with when my anxiety got really, really bad. And that is what my book is about, essentially. There's poems that I've written in there, and there's insights to tiny parts of my life, as well as things that have really helped me move through the anxious and fearful times to bring me back to a place of sort of love and self-confidence, so I can feel connected to who I am and follow the things that matter, rather than being stuck in that place. And throughout the book, I share what mindfulness means to me, how meditation can look different to us all. It doesn't mean being sat with our eyes closed. It's not a quick fix. It's not going to bring us something. It's when we meditate, we're essentially just taking time to listen to what we have to say And that can be through writing, through music, through singing, so many different things. So I just share different ways where people can kind of connect with this place and maybe find something really small where they can find that freedom. And it's just a whole journey. I've written a few meditations in there. I've shared, the importance of gratitude and all the things that we know are good for us that we maybe sometimes forget, because it's really the little things, I think, that are the big things. So, yeah.
Beautiful. That part where you mentioned gratitude, oh boy, that's a great one. So, what's the title again? Remind us the title of your book.
It's Desperate to be Loved, Little Notes of Self-Discovery.
Beautiful title. I got that. Okay, let us talk about trauma and mental health. So, what are the biggest misconceptions about trauma and mental health?
Well, I think we are all suffering with mental health, but mental health is labeled as negative, and it's not really. I mean, we talk about physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, mental health. It's just a part of us that needs to be cared for. And the more aware of what's going on for us mentally, it connects to us physically and emotionally, and trauma sits within us all. But I think it's labeled as those huge, huge things, but we can have tiny bits of trauma affect us throughout our life that we might not even be aware of. And then over time, this builds up and it creates us a space that isn't safe. And I think that's the huge thing I'm really working on now, is in the work that I do with people. It's all about psychological safety, so that we feel emotionally safe enough to open up about what's happening. And I think the misconceptions of mental health, and I've got, mental health in my family when I was growing up, which is why I'm hugely passionate about making a change and trying to make a tiny bit of difference to the people that I come across in life, because there's so many misconceptions that it means people are going mad or insane and they need loads of help and time, but we all need things and we just need spaces to access to do that, because then things just become smoother for us all. So I think the misconception is that it has to be a disastrous trauma, but actually trauma and mental health can be present in little ways. And we just need to be open about that and continue the conversations. Even like this, it's still, bringing awareness to what's happening for other people to listen. And one tiny thing might make a difference.
That's right, very correct. I got that. Okay, concerning your work, how do you work with people and how does your work impact them? In what ways can you talk to us about that?
So I do group work and one-to-one work, in person, online. I do a lot of work online, particularly since the online world has blown up. So I work with people on Zoom. And we just work through, I intuitively work. I'm a Reiki practitioner, a yoga nidra teacher. I work a lot with compassionate inquiry. So I'll work one-to-one to provide that space of safety and use the different therapies and techniques such as meditation, mindfulness. We'll work through the body, through the chakras, to unravel these things for people so that they can find that freedom and connect to that place of confidence and love inside themselves to be free. And then that's where all our ideas and creativity and, connections, it all kind of blooms from that place inside, if we're just safe enough to get there. So I work with people in that way to provide that.
Wow, that's a great word. Thank God for people like you. I love what you're doing.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah, we have just one more to go. All right. So, how can people avoid burnout while navigating mental health challenges? You got it?
Yes. Okay, so burnout is a huge thing at the moment, and we all experience this on different scales. But I would say the first and foremost thing people can do is to become aware of how they're feeling, because the moment we notice what's happening, we are no longer it. And that's what I noticed with anxiety. It's the same with burnout, depression, all these things. The moment you notice what's happening, you are no longer stuck in it, and you are then able to help yourself. So if you're burning out and you're aware of that, if you're aware you're really tired, if you're aware you're not able to function, the moment that you're noticing it, you're already making a huge difference because you're not sucked inside it. You're not trapped. So that's the first and foremost step that I would say.
You have to notice it. I got that. Okay, so to bring this to an end, Kelly, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, join your programs, get your books, or even ask questions, how can that be possible?
So my website is Room 478, which was created as a space for people to arrive as they are, and I welcome them exactly as they are without needing to change. The 478 is from the breathing technique, where you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. And I'd just like to leave people with this, that if they're struggling with anything, it's never too small a problem to take action on. No one is ever alone with how they're feeling. And it's so important that we share our voices and create spaces so that we can feel safe enough to be who we are. So if anyone's struggling, they're welcome to reach out to me on Instagram, on my website, anything at all. So yes, get in touch. Hello.
Here we go. So,
Should I close the other one?
okay, don't worry.
Okay, sorry about
So,
that.
yeah, no issues. So, your website, your contact info, and all of that.
Okay, so if people would like to reach out to me, my website is www.room478.co.uk or .com. You can find me on Instagram at room_478, and I would absolutely welcome to work with anyone in the world, for anyone to get in touch. I'm really passionate about the work that I do, and know that whatever you're feeling, you're not alone. And keep believing in what you know is true inside, and follow your dreams.
Beautiful words. Keep believing and follow your dreams. That's a deep one. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Kelly. Thank you for coming, and thank you for inspiring us with these amazing words. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, of course. So what do you need from me now? Okay, will you send me a link or anything like that? Or is anything I do, or just